Alrighty, welcome to video 2 on solving addition and subtraction equations. And what I'm going to tell you, you don't have to write down, we're just going to review. It's so important to review and talk about this every single chance we get. And to solve equations, what are we going to do? We are going to isolate the variable and we're going to keep the equation balanced. How do we isolate? We do the inverse. How do we keep it balanced? We do it to both sides. So isolate, do the inverse, keep it balanced, do it to both sides. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we're actually going to write the equation from the word sentence, and then we're going to solve it. So we're going to write the word sentence as an equation, and then we're going to solve. And we start off with the sum of a number p and negative 5 is negative 18. Now, the best way to do this is to actually mark your text, is to actually write down things that are important for you to do. It says the sum. Well, what operation is sum? That's right, it's addition. So we're going to have an addition equation of a number p. So we're going to use p. And negative 5. We're going to use negative 5 is negative 18. So what does is represent? That's right, it represents an equal sign, negative 18. So ladies and gentlemen, it's telling us that we're going to add these two together. The sum of these two numbers, p and negative 5, is equal to negative 18. All right, so now we're taking a look at this equation. We've written it. I'm just going to highlight there. So I say we've answered that. And now we're going to actually solve it, because it says to solve. So we look at it, and what are we doing with negative 5? All right, well, or excuse me, with p. We're adding a negative 5. What's the opposite, or the inverse of adding a negative 5? That's right, subtracting a negative 5. What is the same as subtracting a negative? That's right, it's really adding 5, if that's what you want to say. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm actually just going to write the opposite, subtracting a negative 5, because that looks better right underneath it. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to subtract a negative 5. And then I'm going to go like this. Well, adding a negative and subtracting a negative simplifies out to 0, so p equals. And negative 18 minus the negative 5 is really negative 18 plus 5. They're opposite, so we're going to subtract. 18 minus 5 is 13. And the 18 is larger, so the answer is negative. So p equals a negative 13. Moving right along. Our next question. 8 more than a number x is negative 5. So to mark this text, 8 is a number we're going to use. More than. Ooh, now some people think this is an inequality. But if I have 8 more than you, I have 8 more nickels than you, how many more nickels do I have? That's right, I would take you and I would add. So this more than represents addition. And it's 8 more than what? This number x is negative 5. So if I had to show 8 more than that number, this is me, this is you, I'm showing 8 more than you, that means you plus 8. That's how it's written. Okay? Is negative 5. Now what are we doing with our variable x? We're adding 8. The inverse of that is to subtract 8. So I come over here and I subtract 8, and I get x plus 0. We know the identity property says I can drop the 0. And to keep it balanced, I do it to both sides. Negative 5 plus 8. I'm adding opposites, so I subtract 8 minus 5 is, oh, excuse me, I'm not adding 8. Hello, almost got that one wrong. It's a good thing I had you guys there yelling at the screen so I could get it correct. I am subtracting 8. So now I have a negative 5 minus 8, which becomes a negative 5 plus a negative 8. We're adding two numbers with the same signs. Add them together, 13. They're both negative, so the answer again is negative 13. So here's my equation that it asked us to do, and there's the solution when we solved it. Moving right along to our next question. The difference between a number b and 5 is negative 9. So now we have the word difference. What is difference? That's right, we are subtracting. Between what? The number b and 5 is 19. So now I'm taking b minus 5 is 19. Well, we're subtracting 5 from b, so the inverse to isolate the variable is to add 5. So isolating the variable by adding 5, so b now equals, because those two simplify to 0. And to keep it balanced, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, so b is 24. Here's my equation. That's part of the answer, and there's my solution after solving it. One last one today. Negative 9 less than a number m is 10. So negative 9, well, this right here represents negative 9. less than a number. Once again, that is an operation. When I have something that's less than something else, I'm subtracting. And the number m is 10. So I have negative 9 less than m. So that means m minus a negative 9 is 10. Well, we're subtracting a negative 9 from m. The inverse would be to add the negative 9. All right? So I'm going to add a negative 9 to isolate my variable m. I know those simplify out. Give me 0. The identity property says it's m. And this is equal to keep it balanced, again, I'm going to add a negative 9. Well, 10 plus the negative 9, the signs are opposite. So I subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. And 10 is greater, so the answer is positive. So my equation, m minus a negative 9 equals 10, has a solution of 1. All right? One last thing before we finish our video notes tonight is a real-life application. You have negative 1 point after level 2 of a video game. Your score is 24 points less than your friend's score. Write and solve an equation to find your friend's score. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to mark our text. Mark our text so we know. Well, you have negative 1. All right. After level 2, do we need the 2? No, we don't need that 2. That's nothing that we need for this. Your score is, okay, so your score is, that means equal 24 points less than, what is less than? Less than means we're going to subtract your friend's score. We know my score is negative 1, and we know it's 24 points less than my friend's score. So obviously we don't know my friend's score because it says write and solve an equation to find your friend's score. That question tells us what the variable represents. So x is my friend's, F-R-I-E-N-D-S, friend's score. Okay, so we're going to write and solve an equation. Your score is, so negative 1 is, because we know our score is negative 1, 24 points less than, we're going to subtract from our friend's score. So here's my friend's score minus 24. So right now we're taking x and we're subtracting 24. The inverse would be to add 24. So to isolate my variable x, I have to add 24. Those simplify down to 0, leaving me with x equals. If I want to keep it balanced, I add 24 to both sides. Negative 1 plus 24, opposite signs, subtract. 24 minus 1 is 23, and the 24 is positive, so the answer is positive. My friend's score is 23. Bam. Done. Our last quick write of the night, ladies and gentlemen, is a word question you have to write and solve. So it says your bank account balance after a recent deposit is $29.53. This is $45.50 more than your previous balance. Write and solve an equation to find the previous account balance. Okay? So if it says to find this, that's what your variable is going to represent, your previous account balance, whichever variable you choose. Please don't forget to bring questions to class about solving equations. Put a question mark next to it, highlight it, whatever it takes for you to remember to ask me a question. When you are done with your quick write, you still have a few minutes left to begin your assignment. Quality 45 minutes every night, always remembering to be accountable. I know I say this every single night. It is my way of helping you remember to choose to be accountable. It's a helping. I'm not nagging, I'm helping. It's a positive thing. Take the help and use it. Remember to work aggressively and with a little bit of urgency to keep focused and use your time effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, you rock, and I will see you tomorrow.